So I can often tell just by looking at a boy for maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and tell if the child is highly sensitive fairly accurately. And it's not hard. The other day I was at a clinic. I was in the waiting room, and I just happened to be looking at this family sitting across from me. And there's the mom and two sons, one older, one slightly younger. And you can see in a very obvious way the difference in the energy between the two boys. One is kind of on his iPad. The older one is on his iPad playing games, and when it's running out of battery, very frustrated, going to the mom, going like, "Oh, my iPad is out of battery. I want to play." And you can see him like feeling very restless in the space, and just kind of all over the place. Whereas you look at the younger brother, and he had some toys he was playing with, something like Lego kind of blocks. And you can see this boy, he's just kind of in his own world, just slowly kind of playing with the thing, making sense of it. And it just struck me like, wow, this child, it's small things, it's the mannerism, it's the body language, it's the way the muscles on their face move as they're interacting, the way they look at their parents, the way the child looks at the space around. You can tell they're thinking, they're observing, thinking, processing, maybe even not that consciously, but they are. And I was like, wow, like that boy is probably highly sensitive. And what I mean by that is, this kid probably feels a lot. This kid probably thinks a lot, is very intuitive, probably gets told that he's too emotional at times, probably doesn't quite feel like he fits in a lot of places. And yet, there is so much creative potential, so much just wanting to be seen. I think so. Again, this is not to say that sensitive kids are better than non-sensitive kids, nothing like that. But I have spent, I guess, a good part of my life getting to understand this trait of high sensitivity for myself. And I'm just struck at time and again how, when I meet a sensitive boy, just how suddenly drawn they feel to me, and how I feel like I can get them in a way that to me is very obvious and beautiful, but it's kind of frustrating and confusing to the people, to the adults around them. So, for one, sensitive kids have a lot of depth to their being. There's a lot going on for them. And I say this in the best possible way. I remember at the age of 4 or 5, crossing the street one day, going to school. My dad like taking me to school, just traffic and stuff, weaving through the traffic, crossing the road. And I just remember thinking about what would happen if one day the entire universe just went black, if everyone just died in 1 second, if everything just disintegrated and disappeared in 1 second. And I was like, well, it won't be very sad because there won't be anyone to remember it. And I just remember being kind of at peace with, hey, if that happens, it's okay. And that's the kind of thoughts that used to go through my mind. And it was very normal for me to think very deeply about things. And it is a very normal thing for sensitive kids to think about that. This was age 4. throughout my childhood, I would think about things like this. But you can imagine when a child has such a deep and rich inner world, no one outside really knows about this world. When their parents, when the adults around them, their friends even, don't really know the depth to which a child sits with, thinks about the world, feels. Imagine how lonely that child must feel. And imagine the stories that child probably takes away about themselves. And it'll probably go something like this: I'm too sensitive. I overthink. I think too much. I'm the weird one. I'm an alien. I I I was often told by my friends would often ask my parents, "Is he from Mars? Where do you get him from? Where do you abduct him from?" It felt funny in the moment, but it's not funny when you really think about it. And you know, it's tragic because everyone says, oh, they want their kids to be creative. We want adults to be creative. We want to empower them. But you see, the seeds of that start when they are little. There's this famous quote, I don't remember right now by whom, that goes, every creative adult is basically just a child who survived. And there is so much childlike wonder and power in that imagination. Imagine if an adult had that kind of rich, vivid imagination, depth of thought, patience to sit with those feelings, plus the tools and knowledge they have about the world as an adult. How empowering would that be for the world? So, what a sensitive child really needs is for someone to believe in them, to take them seriously. And when I say believe in them, I don't just mean this empty sense of, I believe in you, you can do whatever you want, yay. I mean, a lot of kids get that. But there's a certain nuance I want to pick on here. What a sensitive child, especially a sensitive boy, really needs is for someone to believe in their trajectory. For someone who sees the way they innately are, the gifts they possess, the way they are designed, and for someone who sees what that enables for them, what all that deep feeling, creativity, depth of thought, that intuition, how that can help them unfold in their lives, how that can help them bloom in their lives, and who really feels and sees that this is what you need to hold on to become the person you were born to be, to become what you already have in you to be. Someone who believes that if this child's gifts can be honored, can be met, can be respected, can be nurtured, they will become this wonderful being who will always be remembered as a gift to the world, who will be a gift for the world just merely by virtue of being their authentic selves. That is what a sensitive child really needs. You know, I I can probably count on my fingers the number of times when I was a kid and maybe an adult who just heard the way I would talk, just happened to mention to me that, oh, the way you think is quite different. And said this with a smile. And said this with the belief that there is something beautiful about you. There is something wonderful about the way you are unique and different. And I remember just the waves of, not overconfidence, but the waves of heartfulness that swept over my chest as I would hear that. And this feeling of, wow, someone sees me, and just this happiness of wanting to connect with this person. It's not often that I would feel that. And so I feel that when a sensitive child has someone in their life, an adult who really gets them and is able to translate to the wider world, to the people around them, their behaviors, their way of thinking, their quirks, that can be such a foundational gift for that child, a stepping stone for that child. It becomes the thing that helps them remember who they are and feel their center, especially in a world that is changing so rapidly, in a world where, with all the AI stuff kind of dehumanizing us in a way, and at the same time really asking us to remember our humanity. With the way the world is going, I feel like these children, our future generations, being able to remember their center and feel the beauty that makes them who they are, that the beauty that is their humanity. One, we really need that. The world needs what they have to offer, but for them to remember it is actually the gift for the world.